This disturbing supernatural story you're about to see took place in Brooklyn, New York, and in Hollis, Queens. Who was the real killers behind Jam Master Jay's unsolved death? In the 1970s and the early 1980s, I predicted a huge vision that Jesus Christ and his heavenly Father, the Yahweh, was married to their spouses. I predicted that Jesus Christ was married either in heaven or on earth. As my visions were getting stronger, Jesus Christ and his heavenly Father, Yahweh, spiritually started a rumor about me through the famous rappers Run DMC. On January 1st, 1986, the name of the two songs are called Kings from Queens from the Run DMC Raising Hell album, and the second song was called Rumors by Time and Social Club. Listen very closely to these two songs. Listen to these two songs that the Heavenly Father, the Yahweh, started about me, because Jesus Christ was married to his sister before the crucifixion, and Yahweh, the creator of this world, was actually married to a goddess. Listen very closely to these two songs.
My mighty mind control already brought his soul. The rock king is so bold when he rocks and roll. A black hat is my crown, symbolizing the sound, signifying we won't play around. Bust it. Across the land, every man is going out of his mind. On the face of the earth
without somebody pointing a finger. I can't show my face, cause when it comes to rumors, I'm a dead ringer. It seems from rumors, I just can't get away. I bet there'll even be rumors floating around on Judgment Day. I think I'll write my congressman and tell him to pass a bill, so the next time they catch somebody starting rumors, shoot to kill. When you look at all these rumors that's surrounding me every day, I just need some time to get away from all these rumors. Can't take it no more. My best friend said there's one I know about me and the girl next door. What's mine is mine. I ain't got time for rumors in my life. I'm a man who thinks, not a man who drinks, so please let me live my life. When you look at all these rumors, surrounding me every day, I just need some time to get away from all these rumors. I can't take it no more. My best friend said there's one I know about me and the girl next door. Look at all
The rap group Run DMC is corrupted, and they were working for a corrupted God since the early 1980s. Run DMC knew who I was in the early 1980s, and yet they spread a dangerous rumor that almost had me killed on May 11, 1986. But what Run DMC didn't know, because of this rumor that God and Run DMC started on January 1st, 1986, it caused the death of their friend Jam Master Jay and the separation of their rap group on October 30th, 2002. The night that Jam Master Jay was killed in his recording studio in Jamaica, Queens, New York. The creator of this planet and our material universe is an evil and cursed God. It was God himself and Jesus Christ who moved the alignment of the planets and stars and caused a lunar eclipse, allowing the birth of the Antichrist to come into this world, Prince William V. The only one in this universe that can move those planets and stars in the correct position and start a lunar eclipse is God and Jesus Christ himself. 5,500 years ago, in the time of Jared, Enoch's father, and Jesus Christ and God turned their backs on their human creation and allowed his children, the fallen angels, to have sex with both humans and animals to corrupt God's creation on earth. And they created different kinds of species to fulfill planet Earth. What was the real reason that the World Trade Center was attacked on 9/11? The Sumerians 6,000 years ago in ancient Iraq wrote on a clay stone, "Our earth is degenerate in these latter days. There are signs that the world is speedily coming to an end. Bribery and corruption are common." The reason that Jesus Christ and his Heavenly Father started that rumor about me was because I was gonna make a rap song to tell the truth to the world in 1985 that Jesus Christ and his Heavenly Father was married to their spouses. Jesus Christ and his Heavenly Father, the Yahweh, wanted to possess me on December 4th, 1980. And in 1997 with a spirit muse, so I could become a professional movie star for the Hollywood elite. The result was that Jesus Christ had taken away my education at age 17. He hospitalized me in psychiatric hospital through all my life. He ruined my reputation on 17th Street with my family, friends, and neighbors. Jesus Christ and God is the one responsible for possessing movie stars with the spirit muse in California, Hollywood. Now Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Rihanna are admitting on national television that they are being possessed by spirits, demons, and the spirit of dead celebrities. If Jesus Christ and his Father in heaven knew that the Hollywood, California and movie stars, producers, directors, and composers were all corrupted and evil since the time of Ruler Valentino in the 1920s. Why on earth did Jesus Christ and his Heavenly Father, the Yahweh, want it so bad for me to be recruited into a Hollywood satanic industry? To possess me with evil spirits so I could have an out-of-body experience and become the movie star that God wanted me to be on December 4th, 1980 and in the fall of 1997. Sophia was a goddess that came from the heavenly realms of the Most High. Sophia also was the mother of Yahweh, the God of planet Earth. When she had his miscarriage, Sophia saw that she gave birth to a God made out of fire. She had gotten very frightened and blew it out of the heavenly realms into the darkness of the watery abyss. The reason Sophia, the mother of God, of Yahweh, had his miscarriage was because Sophia created Yahweh without the permission of the Supreme Being of the heavenly realms. When Sophia saw what her desire had produced, it changed into the figure of a snake and the face of a lion. Its eyes were like flashing bolts of lightning. She threw it out from outside of the realms so that none of the immortals could see it. For she had produced ignorantly. She named her child Yahweh. Gnosticism holds that the God of the material universe is held responsible. Pretty much outright state that Yahweh is the creator of evil. As evil, or at least God's insane. As seen in fear that man and a darkness in my soul. The evil Yahweh creator of planet Earth created, for example, gunpowder, uranium, heroin, cocaine, liquor, diabetes, cancer, AIDS, acid, fire, pure darkness, evil spirits, demonic dinosaurs. The evil Yahweh created metals on planet Earth to create metals, guns, and nuclear bombs. The evil God of the planet Earth created poison in animals and on the planet. Yahweh transformed beautiful angels into demons and gave children and people nightmares and the worst of the pit of the darkness. Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. This is a female African ape. And what you see next to the female ape is a falling angel, the missing link. This is an African ape, the true mother of Cro-Magnon people and the first pregnancy from falling angels. Date 6,000 years ago. An experiment from the falling angel and the female family ape of Africa. Cave people or Cro-Magnon humans. Fact, there is only one skin color, a brown pigment called melanin. Albinos have no melanin, so they have very white skin, almost pink because of the blood vessels that show through. If you have only a little melanin, you have white skin. If you have very black skin, it's because your skin makes a lot of melanin. If you are Chinese, your skin is slightly thicker, which gives your skin a yellowish shade. Celestial beings that landed on the earth like eagles merged their sperm with a female ape and produced the blacks, whites, albino, and Chinese race. It was in the time of Jared, Enoch's father. They were all corrupted from the natural order. Corrupted from the natural order? What does this mean? Except that animals and human beings were morphing into different species. Book of Jubilees and the Book of Enoch. First pregnancy by falling angels. The second pregnancy by falling angels, which is the time of Lucy. The third pregnancy by falling angels. Fourth pregnancy by falling angels, until it evolved to modern man of Africa. This is the era 6,000 years ago the created white people evolved. There were the Caucasian man, albino, and Chinese race. Albino mutants are the ones who evolved from the black norm and the time of the Aryan falling angels. The last tribes of angels that fell in the Caucasus Mountain after the flood of Noah. This is a picture of a black man turning white. And it was a biblical leprosy that we believe where the white people evolved. All the white people on the earth evolved from the black norm in Africa. The Caucasus Mountain of Russia, where albinos, Chinese, and white people evolved from the blacks 6,000 years ago, and also at the time of Jared, Enoch's father. The Zionist Illuminati, Jews and Greeks are albinos, mutants, from the bloodlines of the third race of falling angels, the Aryans. The Zionist Jews stole all the Bible stories from the ancient Sumerian clay tablets and added their version of the Bible 2,000 years ago for world domination, and mixed up historical facts from fiction, myth, and legends to cover up the true writers of the Holy Bible. The first race of angels that fell from heaven to another dimension was Azurah, the wife of Yahweh, and 1/3 of her children. The second race of angels that fell from heaven to earth was Azazel's family, about 3,600 years before Christ. The third race of angels that fell from heaven to earth after the flood of Noah landed in the Caucasus Mountain about 3,200 years before Christ were the race of the Aryan falling angels, which were the blue eyes and blonde hair angels, that were the last angels that finished producing the white race that evolved from the blacks in that region of the world. That was the time when they came and stomped on everybody in that region of the world, which is in Africa and India. And this is how they became powerful, and it was the supreme races ever since. The book of Enoch contains a rather disturbing passage that suggests a paranormal or supernatural element is involved with the process of evolution. 222 falling angels invaded planet Earth in the time of Jared, Enoch's father. The 222 falling angels had sex with a female ape in the time of Jared and gave birth to Cro-Magnon humans. They were the blacks, whites, albinos, and Chinese race. They all had sex with animals and humans in Africa, and they were all corrupted from the natural order. Corrupted from the natural order? What does this mean? And said that animals and human beings were morphing into different species. It was in that era of Jared, Enoch's father, before the Egyptian pyramids of Egypt was ever built, that falling angels impregnated Iraqi women in southern Iraq and gave birth to giant human beings to fill the earth. They were called the Nephilim giants. And they are the true builders of the pyramids of Egypt and all the colossal buildings in Jordan and around the world. Grace Powers, the producer of Armin Stop Production, Ring of Power Part 1 and 2, is a hypocrite. And let me explain why. Grace Powers' friend Joy Jeffries Pugh, the author of Eden, states that Cain, the second child of Adam and Eve, was an alien or reptilian. The Lying Sumerians also states that the human race was created by a demon seed called Enki. The Hebrews and Sumerians of the Bible lied in a very big way in some parts of the Bible, and let me explain why. There was never no snake that tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden. I strongly speculate that there was sexual activity in Eden before the story of the serpent. And in some ways, this makes a lot of sense. It's the world of paradise. How can it exist without sex? Adam and Eve was having babies all the way to the time of Jared, Enoch's father. It was in that time that the serpents of the air, which is the angels, came into the daughters of Adam and Eve, and all the female animals in Africa, and created an abomination of different species. This is the epic of Gilgamesh, his story of the Great Flood. Adam and Eve were the first humans on earth. Then they had two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. At this point, there were supposedly only 3 people on the face of this earth. This is the white-skinned Hebrew edition of the Bible story. I will explain to my brothers and sisters the true reason why the white-skinned Hebrews stole the Bible story from Iraq and added their version of the scriptures. First of all, Eve gave birth to a third child, a daughter. The reason that Cain killed his brother Abel was because he committed the first deadly sin, which was envy. Cain had gotten nervous and didn't know where to hide Abel's dead body from his parents in the Garden of Eden. So Cain saw a crow kill another crow. Then the crow dug a hole on the fresh earth and buried the dead crow with dirt. That gave Cain the idea how to bury his brother in the Garden of Eden without his parents realizing it. This is probably how Cain married his first sister and built a city outside of Eden. If God said incest is wickedness, then why God created a situation where Adam and Eve's kids had to commit incest with each other? Did God force them to break his own law? No. It makes much more sense that Adam and Eve's children procreated with other humans outside of Eden, the cave people. Yet one may object why these cave people are mentioned in Genesis. It is mentioned in the time of Jared that the fallen angels came into earth and procreated with female apes and created caveman-looking creatures. I will explain who were the cave people and why it was edited out the Bible. The cave people were a product and experiment from the fallen angels that had intercourse with a female ape and begetted a new species of human called Cro-Magnon or modern man. They were the blacks, whites, albinos, and Chinese race that evolved in the time of Jared to the time of Noah in the Holy Bible and also after that. The remains of ancient Lucy in Africa was one of the daughters of a female ape and a fallen angel 6,000 years ago. It was impossible for long lifespans of 120 to 930 years in Adam's time. No human beings couldn't live that long. This scheme had to come from science fiction writers that didn't believe in God or was trying to cover up their true past. And that race were the white people. All other non-white people on earth evolved from black people 6,000 years ago. Significantly, this is the true reason why life started 6,000 years ago, because of the corruption and the mutation of celestial beings that landed on earth like eagles. They were the fallen angels. Hi, my name is Ronaldo Reyes. I am a writer, artist, and a freelance actor. I have a lot of experiences by the paranormal world. I came to a conclusion since birth and my young teenage years that I was communicating with some kind of spirit that I didn't understand. But as I was getting older in my teenage years, about maybe 17 or 18, I realized that I was connected and being communicated by some kind of a deity. This spirit was actually announcing to me who he was by showing me signs in my dreams. He was showing me things in the physical world. And I didn't believe in the supernatural until I turned 17 years old in 1980. This is when this God announced himself to me. And he announced things that was very, very frightening and very beautiful. And to this day, I'm living with the spirit underneath my skin. I tried many times people who did voodoo. I went to the Roman Catholic Church, which I am a member of since the day I was born. And I realized that everybody was telling me where I went to that this spirit that was inside of me was God. Directed me in my life. And to this day, he's living underneath my skin. And I don't know how to get rid of him or what he wants from me. He's shown me a lot of things in my life that's connected with a lot of things in the physical world. Famous rappers are involved, the Hollywood elite is involved, movie stars are involved, governments, people, even devils and fallen angels are involved. Things that I didn't understand back then, I'm realizing now as I got older, I'm a full man today, that this God that we call the Yahweh, the creator of this world, planet Earth, was the one responsible for practically ruining my life since my high school and teenage years. Excuse me the way I say it, but spiritually, I went through tribulations in my life that I almost got in big trouble because it's a spirit. It's a very tricky spirit, and God is very tricky. If you don't look at his traps, if you don't realize what he's doing to you, you can fall to very big temptations and get yourself in very big trouble. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there that have the same problem I have. They might have spiritual contacts with spirits or demons. Or they might have a gift to communicate with the spirit of the living or the spirit of human beings when they die. Those are psychics, people like that in that nature that has a gift to communicate with the spirit of the dead people who have passed away. So the reason for this video or this documentary that I'm making about my life is that I'm trying to expose everything what happened to me in my life with supernatural forces, things that I don't understand. So I'm trying to get all my experiences out to the open so people like me, people like out there, millions of people that got the same problems could help me get together to see if I can get rid of the spirit that's bothering me. I know it's a good spirit because it's always protected me all my life. I've seen his results. I've seen what he can do to people. I've seen the that he can kill people and he can destroy people with hurricanes. This God can do anything he wants and protect anybody he wishes. But I hope one day, if I get people like you out there, millions of people that got the same problems, maybe we can get together on national television and discuss our issues and help each other with this problem that I have. Because right now I'm trying to be known to the world, so maybe I can expose everything in my life that happened. It's all true. It's all based on a true story in my life that's happening right now. And I'm willing to take a lie detector test and testify that everything I said in my novel about Run DMC, Jam Master Jay, the movie stars, my family, everybody that's involved in my novel, I would willing and gratefully testify under the best lie detector tests in this world so I can prove that I'm innocent. My name is Ronaldo Reyes. I come from a religious family of 8 siblings. I am the only one out of my brothers and sisters who is 7 months premature. But I was born with a very special gift. I was born in Methodist Hospital in Brooklyn, New York. And I was also raised in the 5 boroughs of New York City. On April 5th, 1964, I was baptized in the Roman Catholic Church as St. Augustine, R.C. All of my life I have been involved in church communities, events, like going upstate to Harvest Draw, with a lot of teenagers and adults, to a Catholic retreat centers, and we did a lot of praying. We also did a lot of Bible studies and directories in St. Thomas Aquinas and at Holy Family in Brooklyn, New York. We created banners, t-shirts. We even made plays for the procession of Jesus Christ every year on Good Friday. This video you're about to see is an example of all the things that we did for the Roman Catholic Church. I hope you enjoy.
Los jefes de los sacerdotes y las autoridades lo acusaron, pero Jesús no contestó nada. Pilato le dijo:
¿No oyes todos los cargos que presentan contra ti?
Pero Jesús no dijo ninguna palabra, de modo que el gobernador se sorprendió mucho. Con ocasión de la Pascua, el gobernador tenía la costumbre de dejar en libertad un condenado a elección de la gente. De hecho, el pueblo tenía entonces un detenido famoso llamado Barrabás.
Bendito es el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús.
On October 31st, 1980, my sisters and their friends were getting dressed up to go to a Halloween party in a disco in Manhattan. It was me, Ronaldo Reyes, my sisters, Linda, Carmen, and Maria, and their 2 friends, Candy and Daisy. 1 month later, on December 4th, 1980, I was watching television in my old apartment on 17th Street in Brooklyn, New York. It was in the nighttime, about 10 p.m., and I was watching a movie called A Star is Born with Barbra Streisand. And I noticed in my living room lampshade a big bumblebee. Then I looked outside the kitchen window and I saw a huge goldish star. It kind of looked like the star of Polaris. I even told my mother, and I pointed to the star of the night sky. Around close to midnight, a very strange thing happened. The bumblebee and the star Polaris had disappeared at the same time. Then, the movie A Star is Born with Barbra Streisand had finished. It was almost midnight, and as soon as I shut off the light, a flaming light appeared in the kitchen for a few seconds. As soon as the flaming light disappeared for a few seconds, one of my living room chairs slid across the room by itself. I started screaming and fell into an anxiety attack. And that's when my mother took me to the emergency room in Brooklyn, New York at South Beach Psychiatric Clinic. On May 11, 1986, 3:09 p.m., the doctors were in the hospital fighting for my life. I had fell into God's trap and tried to OD with the medication that he tried to label me with on December 4th, 1980. Nobody was listening to me, and at the same time, I was being tormented with very powerful spirits. Jesus Christ even tried to conjure a very powerful spell on me with my very own neighbors on 17th Street. They were Puerto Rican and white people. On November 28, 1999, I was with my parents and 11-year-old son in a small family house in Tampa, Florida. One night, the dogs in the block were all barking like crazy. I personally felt that there was something bothering those animals. I didn't pay any attention to it at the time. But around 9:45 p.m., my son and I heard something in the attic. It sounded very creepy. So I told my son not to worry about it. It was exactly 2 p.m. at night. The sound in the attic automatically stopped. As soon as I was almost asleep, an invading spirit attacked me. And it felt like a lot of fingers in my throat. I felt like if this ghost was trying to strangle me. That's when I got up screaming, and I knew that it was Jesus Christ and God who ordered that attack on me. Why? Because it was in Tampa, Florida, where I began to write my first novel, Portal to Hell. I began to expose Jesus Christ and God, that they were married to their spouses. I started arguing with this white chick in a gas station. That's when 3 white boys came out of a black car. One of them approached me, and he was reaching something in his pocket. I thought he had a knife or a gun, so I panicked. I started reaching out for my little carpet knife that I had from work, and I started chasing him around the gas station. I had no intentions of hurting him because I was never a violent man until this very day. I was just trying to protect myself in case my life was threatened. So that very night, I left Florida with my son on the Amtrak at the nighttime around 12 o'clock p.m. As soon as I returned to New York City on Amtrak with my son, my mother and father had called me from Florida and told me that police issued a warrant for my arrest. Here are the documents related to the Florida case.
My brother, Ronaldo Reyes, has experienced paranormal activities since probably the age of 14. In fact, I remember one night, must have been no older than 8, 9 years old. I was sleeping in the room. I heard loud screaming. It was late at night, glass breaking, and it was my brother experiencing one of his experiences. I believe he saw a ghost or some type of entity in the apartment, and then he was scared so bad that he ran through the living room and put his hand through the glass of the cabinet, and everybody woke up, and that's when I realized he was having these experiences. My brother has been in and out the hospital ever since that age, and I believe if somebody experiences paranormal activities of such, they will need some type of psychological care, psychiatrists, any type of help to make them deal with what they've seen. It's only natural. My brother never took much drugs when he was younger. These paranormal activities that he's experienced, I believe, were things that are just freak activities, or just maybe he's more in tune with the spiritual world than others, and it's very hard to deal with these things. When people experience paranormal activities, they handle them differently, and it's not easy at all. I did experience paranormal activities, minor ones, however. I just dealt with them accordingly. I tried to go on with my everyday life, but I did, again, experience some of them. What did I experience? I can't really say. It's more of a thing that I felt as opposed to something that I saw. For example, sleep paralysis. This actually happened in this apartment. It's pretty scary. I looked it up, Googled it, because it's something that I experienced. I would be sleeping, it'd be late at night, I don't know, 2 in the morning, everybody would be sleeping. And I would wake up, but realize that I can't move, paralyzed. And I would see shadow-like figures in the room. And it'll scare me half to death, which is, the fear that it instills in you. It makes you so afraid, it's pretty much its power, its weapon against you. And that's what it does to you. And what I do is I pray, and it goes away eventually. I'm able to move, and then I realized that I actually wasn't sleeping. I experienced this last year. Did I experience the sleep paralysis when I was younger? No. But I did experience other things when I was younger, like out-of-body experiences, but it was more like dreams. But the dreams became more and more lucid, and clearer to me. So the dreams advanced as I got older. And, lucid dreaming, sleep paralysis, those things I have experienced in my time. I believe that these type of experiences will occur again. Paranormal activity, sleep paralysis, those kind of things. And the more educated you are about these things, the better you can handle them in the future. For example, not letting it scare you when you're paralyzed, and it'll go away. If you give in to the fear, you give it what it wants. Fear is powerful. You gotta learn how to use it. You could use it, it could work for you or against you. Several years ago, my brother, Ronaldo Reyes, and I were enjoying the Halloween parade in Manhattan. And there was about seven of us, Chino, Caesar, myself, my brother. We were all crossing the street in a group, and the light turned green, and one of my friends, Chino, stopped he was standing in front of a car, waving his hand, signaling the driver to stop, not to move. And the driver got upset and yelled out to Chino and said, "What are you, effing traffic cop?" And my friend turned around, pretended like he was gonna throw a bottle, and the 4 or 5 guys in the car ducked, waiting for the impact, and got scared. So because they got scared, they got angry at us. They drove to the next corner, jumped out the car, opened up the trunk, took out some weapons and attacked us, and we defended ourselves, and we pretty much got locked up for that night. And however, we were released because nobody pressed charges against each other. It was just a street fight.
Hi, this is my own neighborhood, 17th Street, where I grew up for 30 years. I'm gonna record and interview my friends that I grew up with since a kid. And we all grew up here since a kid, all of us, the family, cousins, friends. And we're gonna just interview a few of my friends here that wants to be interviewed, that wants to be in my documentary. I know Jason for many years here, and he's family to me with the rest of the kids that we grew up here. I wanted to ask Jason a question. Jason, how long did you know Reynaldo Reyes and his family?
For about 30 years.
30 years? So that's dating back almost to 1980, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Did he ever do drugs in front of you?
Never.
Thank you. This is Donna, my friend. I know her for many years here in 17th Street. And we grew up with the family, Dominic's family, all our family, the whole kids, everybody. And I wanted to ask Donna today in my documentary, Donna, how long you know Ray in 17th Street?
How well do I know him?
How long?
I have to say maybe 30 years.
Okay. Did Ray ever did drugs around you since you know him in 17th Street?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you, Donna. This is Armando, my cousin, his family. Armando, did Reynaldo Reyes ever do drugs around you all the years that you know him?
No, he hasn't.
Okay, and he's family to you, right?
Yeah, for a lot of years.
Okay. Okay, thank you. This is my friend, practically my son, Chebo, that I know for many years here. I want to ask Chebo a question. Chebo, how long did you know Ray and his family?
About 28 years.
Okay, did Ray ever did any substances of drugs or anything big like cocaine or any drugs in front of you?
No.
In my family, there are a total of 8, 4 boys and 4 girls. Starting with Sonia, the oldest, myself next, Carmen, Linda, Maria and Nelson, Ray, and Tito. When we were young, we always got along fine. During the early 80s, I wasn't living at home with my brother Reynaldo. What he was experiencing was probably troubling him so much that he just didn't know what was going on. And as a result, he was starting to get looked at some of the hospitals. In 1986, my brother Reynaldo Reyes gave us a scare by almost overdosing on some of his own medicine due to the fact that he was being tormented by these spiritual feelings, and he didn't know what to do, where to turn to, and he thought that maybe that was his way to stopping these feelings. My brother almost died as a result of this overdosing on this medication, and he gave us quite a scare to the whole family. Far as I know, my brother wasn't a troubled child in the sense of getting in trouble all the time. He always did things that kids like to do. As far as I know, my brother Reynaldo Reyes did not really mess around with drugs or drank to any degree that I was aware of. He liked, among playing with favorite toys here and there, he also liked engaging in artwork. He started drawing at an early age, and that was one of his passions. He would draw some religious paintings that were either made into T-shirts, and he also did some quite spectacular paintings in the back of, say, dungaree jackets. We have a cousin that was the recipient of a few of them. Unfortunately, I don't have one yet, but maybe soon. My brother's quite talented when it comes to his artistic ability. There's been quite a few paintings, like I said, that he's done on T-shirts, jackets. Some of the young nieces and nephews are also lucky recipients of some of his artwork, such as Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, trucks for the boys. So yeah, artistic, my brother has created quite a few of them. My brother has in the past mentioned this fear or belief that witchcraft was being practiced on 17th Street. But in the Hispanic population, a lot of people sometimes believe in that, others don't. In his particular case, he feels that somewhere someone had the power to create this witchcraft abilities, and he felt that maybe something was done towards him. I am not 100% that this did happen, but there are people that believe that it exists. I recall during the mid-'80s, I found myself moving back in with my parents for a short amount of time, during which period my brother Reynaldo Reyes was living there as well. And I witnessed his erratic behavior and agitation because he felt once again that there were these spirits that were continuing to harass him. There were times where he could not sleep, and other times he was so agitated that he would physically put his fist through a sheetrock wall. It made my parents and anyone living there very uncomfortable because he would act up in such a manner. In one instance, as a result, my parents had to call the ambulance to try and restrain him and take him to a mental hospital so he could get looked at. And at the time, some test results came back where there was either some form of mild paranoid schizophrenia or bipolar type thing. They conducted blood work on him and other tests. Blood work results show that there was no forms of any illegal drugs or alcohol in his system. So they concluded that perhaps it was more of a mental problem than any other drug-induced solution or problems going on. My brother, Reynaldo Reyes, as we mentioned, he's a kind-hearted person. He will do anything for any friends or family members. He's very hyper in his ways, very hard to sit down and talk about anything without getting up every 5 minutes. So we love him dearly. He will call you 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day just to say what's going on or what he's doing. So we all have a little thing that says, "Oh, it's Ray again," the pain in the butt. But we all love him dearly, and we all wish him well in whatever endeavors he takes.
In the 80s, Ray was experiencing spirits or things that were really bothering him. He said he was seeing things, pretty much tormenting him day and night. Ray was very active when he was young. He was very into the arts, painted a lot. He did a lot of sketches and figures and stuff like that out of paper maches. Ray's painting were pretty much religious. He was very much involved with the church. He was an avid member of the church. It was a youth group called the Jornadistas. And this youth group would, get the members from the community involved with the church and try to get the young kids out of the streets, really, so they could come into the church. Reynaldo Reyes was born premature at 7 months. Reynaldo did get in some trouble, and earlier on, he did have some problems. He would get upset I think they were closer because I was able to try to understand Reynaldo more and try to help him more in his situations when things got out of control. He was hospitalized a few times growing up, and they had also have given him some medication at the time that he wouldn't take, and sometimes this would also contribute to him being violent at times. But as far as being in the hospital, I think it was because he was unable to control whatever it was that was going around in the time with him. At times when you were young, I remember you saying at one point that I do remember clearly in my mind, look, like you were pointing at the floor, and you were like so devastated and screaming, oh, there's something there, which really concerned us. Your fear was enough to really put fear in us because it was really scary. I don't think that you were making that up. Ray was not involved in any criminal activities or any gangs. He's never been arrested or in trouble that I know of. Drugs, that Ray, I would say not. Ray is a very fun person, and he's, like I said, very creative, always involved doing things, and just has an imagination, and it's involved with the family and stuff like that. The Club Inferno, Ray and a bunch of friends and my sisters also went. He actually made a beautiful paper mache elephant mask, and we went and we were having a good time. During the evening, he started to complain that he was being followed and something was bothering him. He pretty much stood to himself that night, and then after that, we just went home.